Welcome to Girl Bible, hosted by two women who aren't afraid to dive into anything and everything. This podcast is all about exploring life, laughing through the chaos, and finding common ground with people from all walks of life. No topic is off limits, no vibe is too weird. Come hang out with us every week for real talk, random tangents, and plenty of laughs.
All right, grab your coffee and your chaos, and let's get into today's episode. I am so excited because we're talking about the difference between boys and men.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this episode too. Like there's so many things that we could dive into on this topic, in my personal
100%.
opinion. So,
And as a background, in case you haven't watched our first episode, we are bringing two completely different perspectives to this topic. So Logan
completely
is
different.
21. She's single. She's a Gen Zer, baby. And she's out here with some of these boys, and probably a few men are sprinkled in there as well.
We'll
She'll
see.
let us know. And then I am 34 years old, married to the love of my life. But I've definitely had some dating woes here and there. And we've been married for 7 years now, which is crazy.
Crazy.
So we've got some good perspective here, but we're going to get right into it. The differences between a boy and a man. The first one that came to mind with me was boys think about themselves solely, like everything is me, 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 ego, ego, ego. And I feel like the shift between a man and a boy is when he starts thinking of others first and how everything affects others, or like specifically in a relationship, it affects the other person before just himself.
Yeah. No, I completely agree because if you're with a man, then like they're going to be thinking about you as well. Like they're not just thinking about themselves. But
Exactly.
it's kind of hard to find, in my opinion, these days.
I was gonna ask you, like, out there in the wild, what is it like, and what are the boys doing right now? And also, feel free to sprinkle in some Gen Z terms because I do want to know about like Riz and all that.
Okay, okay. I don't like to use terms like that. Like, I even
Oh,
feel
okay.
too old to use some of those
Oh, what?
terms, but we can still talk about it.
I just want to know some of them, and I'm sure there's other millennials too that are
Okay,
like, I don't know what's going on. And when we
wait.
hear young people talking, we're honestly like,
I'm even like that sometimes. Yeah, the other day I was like doing a basketball camp for my school, like a NIL sort of thing,
yeah.
and there was like teams, and one of the groups wanted their team name to be Gooners. Do you know? Yeah. Okay.
No, I don't know what that is.
Yeah. Okay. It kinda seemed, yeah, you, like, giggle, you laugh because it seems funny, it seems probably, like, playful.
Innocent, yeah.
These kids are probably in, like, maybe the 5th grade, 6th grade, maybe?
Okay,
I
young.
looked it up, and it was when you have a crazy, porn addiction, but you're, like, proud about it. And
Oh
I
my
was just
gosh.
like, I didn't know, and I was asking some of the other coaches, and some of them were looking at me like, "You have to go home and look it up on Urban Dictionary," and I was like,
Oh
"It's one of
my gosh.
those? It's one of those." I was like, this was a boys and girls club camp. I'm just gonna leave it at that, but oh my gosh. Some of
Okay,
the terms are crazy.
back on topic.
Sorry.
What are the boys? No, no, no. I love that because, like I said, I asked for it. I want to know and see. I would never know that that was an inappropriate term. I was like, Goonies,
Right?
like, that's what my head went to. It's like, oh, they're bringing back some old school classic films. uh, what are the boys doing these days that would categorize them as selfish?
Mm, I mean, they're just being themselves in my personal opinion. Like, they're just immature. They
Like
just
when you're texting, are they ghosting? That was our big thing as millennials. It's like you would be texting, you would be dating someone, And then all of a
sometimes
sudden, they would just, like, stop texting you.
yeah, I feel like that still happens, but, like, sometimes they're just, like, weird too, and I'm like, "You're" like, in my opinion, when they're just kind of weird and, like, can't really hold a conversation, you're a boy also. Like, you're not mature enough to hold a conversation.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't even know. Lately, for me, my big thing has just been, like, I don't really care, like, I don't care to get to know you really right now,
I mean,
like
that's fair.
but also, I'm just I don't know. I'm
You have a lot going on and a lot on your
yeah.
plate right now too, so it's perfectly fine if you're not all about the boys.
Yeah, like, I
Sure.
just don't know because most of them are weird or selfish, like, they'll just be like you said, ghosting's a big thing. I feel like a lot of girls talk about love bombing.
Yes,
I don't
that's
know if
such a
I
popular topic right now.
I don't know if I really get, like, love bombed because I'm always hesitant. I'm always like, "No, you're a liar." You're a liar until you prove you're not a liar, in my opinion. So I'm not
Better
taking
safe
any of
than
that extra,
sorry.
right? Right? That's my opinion on it, but
Logan's a very wise, beyond her years, 21-year-old. So I was like a fall in love first and ask questions later girl. So any guy had an honest to God shot with me, like I'm believing what you're saying 100%. I didn't believe that so many
yeah,
people were
okay.
liars until I got burned like 1,000 different times.
Well, I feel like, in my opinion, every girl's gonna get burned at some point, and I think it depends on, like, who burns you. If it's, like, some random guy that you're not really that into and they burn you, you're like, "Meh, he's just a dud," and then you
Yeah,
could just keep going and, like, still be like, "Oh, well, maybe this next guy is different." But
yeah,
I feel like when I was younger, I feel like I kinda got burned by this guy that I really liked, and it was more so than just, like, superficial, in
yeah,
my opinion, at the
yeah,
time.
yeah.
And so, I was just like, "Alright, I'm done with this. All you guys suck, like, you have to prove that."
Which is
But
wise. That's smart. That's a smart take on it. It's like, prove your worth, and then I'll decide if I want to include you into
right?
my world,
Right?
which is
So
fair because 'cause you're the prize.
exactly. Like, don't like, I'm not playing. I'm not playing. I'm not doing this. You're not the prize.
Yes,
Mm-mm.
true.
Let's be real.
What do you have that I couldn't live without?
She was just saying, like, what can they bring to the table that I don't already bring to the table? And I
Exactly.
feel when you're in your 20s, I think everybody should have fun. You should do whatever you want to, but I think it's so important to be comfortable with just being by yourself because
Yes.
then that really changes the game. When
Yeah.
as soon as I was like, "Alright, I can like, I don't really need anybody else's company,"
Yes.
then that just changed it completely for me. I can still do whatever, like, have fun, but I'm not seriously considering having anybody around long term unless they're bringing to the table something that I am not
Couldn't
or, like yeah,
Yes, like something you couldn't bring by yourself.
right. And I think also girls in this generation need to look for a guy who is bringing out the best in them instead
Fact.
of, like because what like, you don't have like I said, I've said it I don't know how many times on this podcast already, and we're 4 episodes in. Life is too short to be doing things that are doing things you don't really like. Being with people that
Compromising
yes, compromising. Being with
compromising your
people
morals or values, like, that's a no.
yes. Being with people who don't make you a better version of yourself or are making you feel worse about yourself is not worth it. It's not worth it.
Your days are numbered.
They
Here on
are.
this planet, your days are numbered. Assuming you're put here to have fun, which is my perspective on life. Like, I don't believe that
Yes.
our creator, our God, put us here to just suffer and have a hard time. While you're going to go through some things to learn lessons and whatnot, yes, that's going to occur. But the majority of your time should not be spent crying, miserable, sad, wondering what's going on, not feeling loved, not feeling accepted, not feeling valued. If that's the case, then you know that you need to move on and find something else because your real partner is going to lift you up, boost you up, raise you up, pump you up, and make you feel like your best self.
Yes. Me
Period.
and one of my best friends, we always talk about imagine imagine one day you have kids and then they're asking you like, "Oh, mommy, how did you meet daddy?" Or "Mommy, tell me a story about you and daddy." And then you're like, "Yeah, he basically cheated on me 7 bajillion times and also like used to slap me across the face all the time." Like,
Whoa, whoa,
I'm
whoa,
not
whoa.
saying that
Dark,
happened. I'm
dark,
not
dark.
saying that happened
No, no,
with
no.
that
I'm
guy.
just saying that was really dark.
You know
Like,
what I'm saying? Like,
yes,
think
no,
think
100%.
about a horrible story, some horrible like, that's not your soulmate. That's
Truth.
a this guy's a funny story that you talk about with your aunt on a random podcast, like, it's not that serious. It's not that serious.
He's a blip in your whole
A
lifeline. Like,
blip, a
just a
blip,
blip.
and he's just a lesson.
Yeah,
He's something
if
that
you're
you
getting
can learn
slapped,
from. Get
go to
out, get
go
out,
to
it's not
the
funny.
police.
Yeah,
We're laughing now,
yeah,
but if
but
that was
it's
real,
not
definitely
funny, yeah,
call the cops.
yes, it's not real.
Now,
But
I do also wanna say that I think boys move out of compulsion and their,
yes.
like, impulses and what's immediately going on in the current moment, whereas men are able to plan, see ahead, move out of their values, move out of what they believe in, and actually carry out their virtues. Mhm.
This is something that I think you can tell instantly when you meet a guy. If they're in
Mm.
the stage of their life where they're a man or a boy. What are they saying to you? What are they how are they interacting with you? Are they, like, moving crazy? Are they moving respectful? What what's their intention off the first day? And then you can know.
I feel like that's
And
true. But I will say this, I think a good mouthpiece goes a long way. That's all I can that's all I can say. If you have a mouthpiece, especially in 2025 where social interactions have gotten strange, in my opinion, people don't have, like, face-to-face conversations the way you used to have them, so a lot of things are going through text message, through whatever, DMs, I don't know the lingo, but, like, you're on the internet, you're like, "Oh, girl, da 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 da," but, like, face to face, if he can't bring that same energy, then it's almost inauthentic and it doesn't hit as hard in my opinion.
right.
But if you have a guy who meets you in person, just picture this, Logan, okay?
No,
Cute
no, yeah,
guy.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He he comes up to you, he's cute, and he has, like, game. He can spit you some lines. They're cute. It's funny. You might immediately think player, oh, he's doing this and that. But also, I'm giving him some confidence points for being
Mhm.
able to say this to a girl to her face. You're already getting 90% of the way there by just being able to talk to me in person.
Okay, yes. Okay, I agree with that. I mean more so, like, I love that, and and you're completely right. I mean more so when they're, like, coming up to you and they're like, "So what are you doing later?" Like, say
Okay,
they
yeah.
say all these nice things, but they're like, "Wanna come over and hang at my crib? Wanna Netflix and chill?" Like, stuff like that. I'm like, "Get out of my freaking face, bro. I
Okay, yeah.
don't even remember your name." You know what I'm saying? You just
Yes.
said something to me 30 seconds ago, or on the contrary, when they're, like, really good in person and then they, like, start saying, like, some crazy stuff, like when I just came back from Chicago and me and
Okay.
my friend, we there was this guy at the bar and he was super nice at the bar, like, he was super chill, and he was just, like, being like, "Yeah, you guys just seem super cool, like, I just wanted to come up, blah, 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 and, like, say hi to you, talk to you guys," and we just talked for, like, the longest time. He was a really cool guy. He bought us some drinks. It wasn't on anything weird, but
Okay.
then at the end of the night, he asked my friend, he was like, "Can I get your, Instagram?" And she was like, "Yeah, whatever." And so then they were, like, kinda texting, and then he said some shady crap like, "I just love your figure," or, like and it's just like, "What are you saying?
It
What are
just
you
went
saying?"
from, like, a casual encounter straight to the point that quickly.
Yes.
Yeah,
No, yes.
that's the impulse part where they're like, "You
Right.
don't have the self-control." You don't have it. Literally, you are a boy. You do not have the self-control to carry out a conversation, to complete the courting, dating phase of which would be the next step in a normal
Yeah.
scenario. You just go straight to the what you want And that's how you know it's a boy and not a man. And he's not ready for anything serious. Girls, if you're listening, and it goes from 0 to 100 that quickly, just know you know what you're dealing with. It's a boy.
Right,
It's a boy.
right,
It's a boy.
and in my experience, never take whatever a guy is giving you at face value. Never say, "Well, I think he can be this," or "I think, like, if I'm around, I can help him be better," because that's not the case. You're not his mom. You it's not your responsibility to make him a better person,
Mm.
and honestly, if he was gonna be a better person, he would be a better person.
Ooh, and
He
also piggybacking off of what you just said, it's every girl's natural instinct almost to see potential. So we don't
For
just
sure.
look at a man in that moment. We don't just look at the man in front of us or the boy in front of us. We see what you could be. So every girl that meets a boy, she doesn't just see him at face value and take him for what he is. Every girl and woman, whatever, looks at a dude and she sees what she could do with that guy. Like she
Okay,
sees
yes.
how she can change him, transform
Yes.
him, make him better, his full potential. We're seeing you at 100%, regardless of if you're standing in front of us at 20%.
You're right.
It's the
I do this.
downfall
I
of
do this
being
too.
a female. It's we're wired for that. We're like, "No, no, no. You don't even see it yet, but I see your potential. Like you could do this, this, this. You just got to get these things together and you're going to be awesome." And it's like, "No." Exactly what Logan said. We can be their cheerleaders and we can prop them up. We can support them if that's their dream. But if it's not originally their idea and it's not coming from them directly, you're holding on to false hope, honey. You're
Right.
projecting a dream on a man who has no idea he's in a simulation.
Yes. 'Cause think about it the other way around. If a guy comes at you and is like, "Okay, we're gonna do this, 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 we're gonna get you right," like, you're like, "What the hell? Get away from me." Like,
It's like,
at least
oh,
me.
you if
I'm
you hit
like,
the gym, girl, you could be so fine. You'd be like, what in the actual F are you talking about? Like, what's wrong with me now?
"Get out of here." But yes, Keisha's so right. Everybody does that. I do that all the time. I'm like, "Okay, this guy has potential." That's most of the time how I move. I'm like, "Okay, this guy has potential." But
Same.
if I am, like, not liking how they're going about it, if I'm just like, "This is not worth it, it's not worth my time," don't get me wrong, I get upset about things too, I'm like, "Damn, that could've been that like, that could've been
But they
us,"
don't
like,
see it. They don't
they
see
don't see
it.
it. But my biggest, like, life hack is, like, whenever I am like, "Gosh, this guy's cute, but he's just not worth my time," whatever, blah, 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 I always say fake it till you make it. Pretend I never saw anything in him, I just look the other way. I pretend he's non-existent. I do everything to just be like, "Get away from me, like, I don't need you. I don't need this waste of time in my life right now."
Ooh, it saves you so much heartbreak, honestly,
So
because
much.
the number of times that I had invested in someone's potential that they're not seeing, astronomical, a waste of time. At the end of the day, all I was doing was wasting my own time, wasting his time, wasting our time. And I still did it with your uncle. I'm not going to lie. I saw your uncle and I just saw so much potential there. I was like, yes, this could go far. Like, this could be something.
Right.
This man's going to make it big time in his career because he has what it takes. But the difference here was his vision for himself aligned with what I saw. I saw his
Yes.
potential, but he verbally confirmed through our dates that his goals were the exact same. So I feel like
Right.
that's where things are actually aligned and it's a good match. When you're seeing the potential, then he confirms it by expressing his goals and dreams to you.
Right.
They happen
And
to be the same.
also, just I mean, speaking not okay, this is just what I saw when and obviously I was a lot younger, so when I looked at Dan and, like, the difference between Keisha and the other girls he would date is, like, Keisha wasn't on any BS, is what it seemed like to me. But all these other girls that Dan had dated in the past would just, like, literally drop anything for Daniel, do anything for him, didn't even care. They were just wanted, like, to make Dan happy, is what it seemed like to me,
No, that's
okay?
accurate.
And the difference was Keisha wasn't on any BS. She was, like, making sure she had herself set up before she was gonna worry about Dan, and I think that was super attractive to Dan that, like, she was so secure in herself first. And I'm not saying this is all the cases, but I just think this goes back to what we were saying earlier. Be secure in
Yeah.
yourself before you're trying to add on.
Truth.
Yeah.
Truth. And it's almost like men, I'll speak for men only. Men know when a girl is secure and confident and loves herself, they want that. They're hunting for that. That's what they want in a life partner. So if you're in a space, Logan's finishing up college soon. By then, she's going to be out here in the wild hunting for some men, and they're going to be hunting for her because she's secure. She knows who she is. She knows what she likes. If you've been clinging on to a boy who doesn't even know who he is,
Mhm.
therefore your identity is tied to this random chaotic being. You don't know what you like. You don't know who you are. You have come up with this identity that is so attached to this chaotic little boy that you're in no space to even accept yourself because you don't know who you are. And therefore, when a man comes along, I don't know how to tell you this, but he's going to see that from 1,000 miles away that you don't know who you are. You do not love yourself. And therefore, you're not ready for some sort of serious commitment because you don't even know what you want. If you don't spend time self reflecting, self love, understanding who you are, understanding what are your do's and don'ts in a relationship, what are your absolutely non negotiables? You probably don't know that if you've been with a boy for an extended period of time. Then, when a real man comes along, you're not going to know what to do with it or how to handle it or how to move forward in it or what you're willing to accept and not accept because you haven't spent time with yourself, nailing
Yeah.
those things down.
Yes. And I feel like right now in this generation, it's kind of a fear of most people, which is okay. Like it's okay to get outside your comfort zone and be like, I don't like being alone because that's okay too. Like it's okay to not like being alone, but I just think it's so important and so crucial to really understand yourself at the end of the day and understand what you like just in the future for any of your relationships, whether that be like platonic relation like
Yeah.
romantic
Friendships,
relationships, yeah, like work relationships, like anything like that.
true. Another one differentiating boys and men is that boys fear commitment in pursuit of freedom. They view it as I want to be free. I don't want to be nailed down. I don't want to be tied down to one specific girl. So the relationship talks, I feel like, always get um, pushed to the side or
Yeah.
avoided, or they get out of it somehow, some way by saying, like, I'm just not ready to commit. I'm not looking for anything serious. Those conversations, which I know have been going on for centuries.
All time,
Yeah,
like all of
exactly.
time.
Like
Yeah.
a young boy thinks that by committing to one girl, he's missing out on, I don't know what he imagines in his head, but many other women that he could possibly catch in his big net. However, a man thrives in a commitment and his responsibilities. He realizes this is where I find peace in my routine, in knowing that I'm taking care of people, in knowing that I'm responsible for someone. That's when you see him rise up and really become his best self because he has taken on all of those responsibilities and he does it with pride and he finds peace in the monotony of his routine.
Mhm. I love that. And while you were saying that, I was thinking, maybe I'm a girl and not a woman because
Oh,
because
I love
because
this.
if somebody said that to me, if, like, we were for some reason having the, like, relationship conversation and they were just like, "Oh, okay, I'm not ready," I'm taking that like, "Okay, that's fine, then I don't owe you anything." I can do whatever I want too. Like, fine. So be it. So be it. If you're not ready to commit, neither am I.
Okay, but that's also fair because you don't want to commit to someone who doesn't want to commit to you.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but
But
you being fine with it is just the place you're in right now. Yeah, you're still growing, you're still wanting to explore, you still want to meet other people too. So I think that's
mhm,
fine.
yeah,
Now, if you
but
met a guy that you wanted to commit to and
I would
then
be
he gave
like,
you that spiel,
I would go ghost. I would be like, "Get out of my face. You're not who I thought you were." No, I'm just kidding. No, I
no,
know
that's
Keisha
fair.
says I know Keisha says that she thinks I'm, like, wise for my age, but I still get upset about things too. I'm just better at, like, concealing it, I think, and acting like it does faking it till I make it, acting like it doesn't bother me.
But that's still mature because that's what you do as an adult. Things hurt your feelings, things suck, right? Somebody
Uh-huh.
comes at you and maybe they do you wrong. As an adult person, yes, you can feel the pain and be hurt, but you don't have the luxury to just like melt down and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You,
No,
you,
yeah.
you that's unrealistic. You have to keep it moving. You still have I'm a mom, so if something sucks in my life, like, I don't have the luxury to just lay in bed
True,
all
true, true.
day and cry and avoid my responsibilities, like, them kids are still waking up, they need breakfast, like, you gotta get up and you gotta get to it,
Blake
honey.
Blake needs 3 breakfasts, not just 1.
Exactly, I'm like, I don't have the luxury, no one does. Past a certain age, those days are over, honey, so this is just a
Mhm.
life skill, that's why I say you're mature beyond your years because there's probably a lot of girls that are in college who when a boy breaks up with them, they're not leaving the house for a week, like, they've been crying. They're just
Which
like,
is it's
they're done.
okay. Yeah, it's okay if, like, you're not at that point yet because it is a lot, and it sucks when people let you down when you're just so trusting because that's a luxury, I feel like.
No,
Just
and it's a
believing that
learning process.
everybody. Yeah.
For sure. But that's why I say you're wise beyond your years because you kind of skipped the phase of allowing yourself to just melt for X amount of days, weeks, whatever. And you just go straight into, well, I gotta stand on business. Like I gotta get
Gotta
back
stand on
up again.
business.
Like I guess
Yeah.
you're a loser, so I'm gonna move on with my life, which I think is a mature mindset
Well,
to
thank you.
have when you're getting your heart crushed.
Yeah, which does suck. Okay, what's next?
The next one and this one's my most important one. So if we wanted to end after this one, fine. Or if we want to get into some juicy tea, either way is fine. But this next one I think is the most important difference between boys and men, which I'd like to preface that I
I
did
love this
get
one.
um, some of my inspiration for these, besides this last one, the inspiration for the other ones came from this Instagram from this guy named Nicholas Cannon. I just wanted to shout him out because he had a little graphic that I loved on the difference between
Wait,
boys and
like,
men. So I took some
Nick
inspo from there.
Cannon? Like the one who has
No,
13 baby mamas and 34 kids. Oh, okay.
no, it was
Sorry,
like
I just
a completely unrelated, different guy. That's why I said Nicholas. It said Nicholas Cannon. I just found the graphic on the internet.
okay, okay. Oh,
And
okay.
I wanted to shout him out because I didn't want people to be like, "She got this from IG." It's like, "Yeah, honey, I
Yeah,
did."
I did. Where are you getting your information? Like,
And
let's
I
be
like I
for
said, it
real.
was inspo. Now, this last one was not, but I think boys are completely okay wasting your time, feeling absolutely no remorse towards the act of wasting a girl's time, whereas a man understands that time is our one and only most precious resource that we have. So wasting either of your guys' time is a huge disservice. He won't waste his time and he will not waste your time. And that's the major difference between boys and men. Mic drop.
Yes. No, mic drop. That's it. It's
My
so
dad always
disrespectful.
says time is all we have on this planet. All you have is your time. So the most rude thing you could do to a person is waste their time. It's why I'm never late for things, or I used to be late all the time in high school. I was late. I just didn't care. I did not understand it until my dad broke it down like that. And he was like, if your only resource on this entire planet is your time, and when it runs out, it's gone, you don't get it back. Every second that you waste, every minute that you waste, every hour that you waste, it's gone forever.
Mhm.
It doesn't ever replenish or refill. If you waste someone's time, that's the biggest slap in the face, the most disrespectful thing you could do as a human being. And it changed my life forever. It's why I'm on time. It's why I don't mess around with people's time. And so I think boys don't understand that, and they love to play games with girls, and they don't care about wasting your time or stringing you along. They don't understand that they've just wasted days, weeks, months, years of your life because they don't get it.
'Cause yeah. And Keisha's dad is one of the most insightful people I know. Like, seriously, if I was in a stage in my life where I was, like, in a relationship and I needed to consult someone who I thought, number 1, would give it to me straight up and also, like, break it down in a way that I could really process it, I would go to Keisha's dad, LP. Like, he's a wizard when it comes to, like, all things relationships, breaking things down to people, like,
Yes,
so
yes.
if you're just like, "Well, who cares? Keisha's dad said that," you should. You should care, and whenever you get a tidbit from LP, you should really internalize it and take it for what it is,
And
honestly.
as a side note, all of my best friends, when they met a man that they were serious about, the first thing they did was they were like, I have to, before I take any further steps, or if like they were on the verge of getting engaged, whatever, they brought them to my dad. They were like, I need him to do a once over and tell me the truth on this guy and give me the lowdown because I don't want to get played. And they know that my dad can see right through the BS and
Right,
decide who that guy is in about 30 seconds or less and give
right,
them a complete and total rundown. So that's kind of background
and
on
yeah, and I think LP can really break this down because he was a player once in his life.
that. Yeah.
I've heard stories, and he'll
That's
say that, I think,
why.
even.
I
Yeah,
feel
so
like
he
that's
knows.
why he knows, like, who is here for the BS and who's actually serious now. Because he knew the difference between when he was messing around and then when he met my mom, like, what shifted. So now
Yeah.
he sifts right through your SHIT.
When
No,
okay,
I
wait.
feel like we gave our listeners concrete 4 or 5 concrete things to look for as they're out here in the wild that are red flags immediately that they can decipher. At that point, if you've listened to this episode and you still choose to stay with a boy, you're making a conscious choice to do so, which
Yep.
is fine. There's nothing wrong. If you want to play games and you're into wasting time, go for it, honey. That's what your 20s are for. If you want to mess around, whatever, learn the lessons the hard way, that's your prerogative. I did it, but I didn't have a podcast to listen to that told me exactly what not to do. Um, but at least now you have some concrete things to go off of.
Again, I feel like Keisha always plugs our socials and stuff and says, like, if you want, like, any help, if you need to reach out, please do. We're happy to talk. I know I'm not the most versed because 'cause I've literally been single forever, but
But
still.
she does have wise words on, just valuing yourself, putting yourself first,
Mhm.
and knowing when a guy is just not for you. If he's not for you, he's against you, honey. If
Yeah,
he's not for you, he's against you.
yeah. Oh, okay, wait, actually, one more thing. When you met Dan, would you say it was, like, love at first sight, or when did it really click that you're like, "Oh, okay, this guy could be, like, something that I see in my future?" Just maybe for listeners who are like, "I don't know, like, I'm struggling. Is this what I think it is? Is it not?"
Yeah. We were different, I feel like, because we're both kind of maybe more impulsive. We're two Geminis. So, two Geminis in love was like a fireworks. It was just instant. So we had been FaceTiming a lot. We were long distance. For those who don't know, we were long distance for a few weeks before we finally met. And Dan had fallen hard for me via FaceTime. So he was ready to be boyfriend and girlfriend before we ever met. And I finally drove up to Casper, Wyoming to meet the man, and when I saw him in person and we went on our first date and we spent that first night together, no, it did not get sexual, people. but we spent that first night together.
It doesn't have to. Like, it doesn't have to go any further than you want it to. Like, you control stuff like that. Also did wanna touch on that a little bit, but
Yeah,
okay,
I
keep
just
going.
wanted it to be, I know it, we had to stay the night because we were long distance, so I was
Mhm.
clarifying for folks listening.
Yeah.
But we just spent the night together and we watched The Office and we were eating Doritos, and it just felt so comfortable off the bat, even though we were both nervous because we both really liked each other. I could just see us having a life together that felt like two best friends. And my parents had preached that you want to marry your best friend. You want to marry your best friend. Life gets hard and you need to have a best friend to make it through the tough patches. And I knew by the end of that weekend that, yeah, I loved him. I was like, let's be boyfriend and
Oh my
girlfriend.
gosh, I love this. Also, when Keisha said they were both nervous, I thought Dan was going to stroke out. We were like, me and my mom, because I think we've explained in other podcasts, Dan is my uncle, my mom's brother. And we all lived in the same place at this time, and we would go over there and help him clean his house, like, literally scrub it, make sure nothing wasn't where it was supposed to be, like, get the candles going, like, it was, like, a stressful time for the whole family, like, that's how we knew Dan was really about this girl. It was, like, he was so freaked out, he was so nervous, like, genuinely, I thought he might drop dead, like, before she even got there, like,
Yes,
so
I was nervous too, for sure. The first time I went there, I was nervous because I was like, I hope he doesn't murder me.
yeah, what if you get murdered? But also didn't, like, your parents knew Dan before you knew Dan, right? Like, didn't they
Yes,
kinda put you on? So
yes, and my dad had, as we previously mentioned, my dad can read people so well. My dad had nothing but good things to say about Dan.
yeah,
And so I knew he was going to be like a good person down to his core. And he was exactly who he said he was going to be. He's been exactly who he said he would be for the last, what, 9 years? So, yeah,
I
but
know,
we knew right away.
well, yeah, and you guys I remember people, like, around me, like, my friends and stuff, they're like, "They're already engaged?" I was like, "Yeah, dude, they're locked and loaded," like, there was no question in my mind that, like, it wasn't gonna work. Like, after
Yeah,
I had, like, met Keisha and saw Dan with Keisha and, like, saw them together, like, it was just really good vibes.
we met in January and we were engaged in September. For
Yeah,
those wondering, it was very
yes.
fast.
People like, everybody outside of our family, I think, were like, "What? Like, what?" But I think everybody knew, everybody in my family, I think probably most on Keisha's side too, were just like, "No, yeah, this makes sense."
Yeah, and we've been rocking it ever since. We made it look, I feel like, easy, to be
I think you
honest.
guys have.
We don't
They've
really
been, like,
have
a
any
lot of
down.
moves. Yeah, no, like
It's been all
and even if
ups.
you guys yeah, yeah, even if you guys do even have a blip or something, I feel like your guys' bond is so strong, and like you said, it's 2 friends.
Yeah,
Um, it's like that. And I only am speaking to this a little bit is because like, I've gone and, like, I've stayed with them for a week and stuff, and I think they're both pretty comfortable with me being around, and they're not, like, afraid to, like, get in little, like, tiffs or anything or, like, have disagreements around me, which I can really appreciate because I feel like it's just a super healthy representation of a relationship. So,
thank
yeah,
you.
you're so welcome.
Well,
Yeah,
we'll end there. And like Logan said, if you want more on relationships, hit us up and we'll get at it on the podcast
yeah.
for sure.
Oh, yes. Okay, yes, that would be fun for sure. Yeah,
Right? We can just
yeah.
dive right in on that
A Q&A if anybody any viewers have any questions, we can definitely answer them on the podcast.
for sure.
Yeah.
So
Okay, awesome.
thanks for tuning in. Boys versus men.
Yes.
Boys, get your ish together. Time to be a
Yeah.
man.
Yes, it is.
Okay, babes, that's the tea, the sermon, the whole dang chapter for today's episode of Girl Bible. If you laughed, nodded, gasped, or even whispered, OMG, same, at any point, then my job here is done. Don't be shy, hit follow so your podcast app serves up fresh wisdom every week like it's your spiritual espresso. And if you've got a sec, drop a review. It helps more fabulous weirdos like us find our way home. Want to keep the convo going? Come say hey over on IG at GirlXBible. Seriously, slide into the DMs. I do not bite unless it's over snacks or opinions on zodiac signs. Until next time, remember, you're the main character, the plot twist, and the moral of the story. Stay bold, stay weird, and stay flipping iconic. This is Girl Bible signing off.